Welcome everyone. Today's webinar will be covering creating a visually rich and personalized web center-based intranet in 60 days or less. My name is John Sim. I'm a senior software consultant and product manager at Fishbowl Solutions, and I'm happy to be joined by Jerry Ada, Fishbowl's enterprise solution architect. And today we're going to discuss how to create a visually rich and personalized web center-based intranet in 60 days or less. Before I move on to the agenda, I want to go over a couple of our housekeeping items. First, there are a couple different ways to ask questions. You can go to the GoToMeeting web interface to enter your questions in the question box. We'll monitor those questions and then answer as many as we can at the end of the webinar. The second way to ask a question is during the question and answers portion. You simply click on the raise hand icon within the GoToMeeting web interface. Doing so will cause this icon to blink. We'll then click on the individual, which will unmute the line, and then you can ask your question through your phone or your computer's microphone. Okay, so if we go on to the next slide, our agenda for today's discussion. I'll start off by giving you a little bit of background information regarding Fishbowl Solutions, who we are and what we do. I'll then cover the goal of the presentation, and that is to provide you with the tools and methodology that Fishbowl has packaged within Intranet in a box so that your organization can realize a live web center-based intranet within 60 days or less. I will also share with you some of our customer successes we've already had, and then move on to some of the business problems we and the industry as a whole have seen when it comes to intranet deployment and overall usage. I will touch on the objectives of Fishbowl Solutions had in addressing these problems, and then pass it over to Jerry to dive in on the details of Intranet in a box, including a demonstration. We'll wrap up today's discussion with some questions and answers. So, next slide. Who are Fishbowl Solutions? We are a recognized leader in the Oracle WebCenter space. We have over 10 years of experience designing, implementing, and supporting enterprise content management and portal systems to customers throughout North America and EMEA. This includes delivering value-added software components for Oracle WebCenter, with recent success in delivering this product to hundreds of customers over the last 2 years. We are also very proud to be one of the first officially certified Oracle WebCenter specialized partners. Our current software and service initiatives for Oracle WebCenter are shown here. We could just go on to the next slide, please. We have been heavily focusing on developing products and provide Oracle WebCenter customers with new ways to contribute content. This includes solutions for mobile ECM, extending WebCenter capabilities to the iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry devices. Additionally, we have products that provide a robust batch loading capability for digital assets and provide users with interactive ways to tag and group photographs, illustrations, and other creative assets. And our SharePoint connector provides users of both SharePoint and Oracle WebCenter content with that desired SharePoint front-end collaboration and content contribution backed by the power of Oracle. We also have a Google Search connector that enables WebCenter customers to harness the power of Google Search within their WebCenter-based websites and intranet. Next slide. So that was a quick few moments on Fishbowl Solutions. Let's now dive in and discuss the major reasons we hope you are joining us today. And that reason is to learn how you can deploy a web center-based intranet in 60 days or less. Represented here are the steps you would go through with Fishbowl's Intranet in the Box offering to realize your organization's next intranet. This all starts with a scoping engagement with Fishbowl Solutions. We'll start off by doing a high-level analysis of your current environment and requirements to determine if Intranet in a box is a good fit. But the most important question at this stage is, does your organization currently have both Oracle WebCenter content and portal? From there, we start discussing the look and feel of your next site. What you'll need to determine at this stage is who will be doing the design work for the site. Will it be in-house or through a third-party agency or even through Fishbowl solutions? And we can cover a little bit later the creative capabilities of Fishbowl solutions, so you have an understanding of how we could help your organization at this stage. We then start to ramp up the actual site architecture and code and the pieces necessarily based on your requirements. We then implement your creative pieces, including the overall UI. We then move on to the installation of content and portal, and then test the system to simulate use. At this point, your new intranet is essentially built and deployed. The only thing remaining is the content to drive the site. And that is the next stage in the process. Depending on how much content you want to have available from your site, this could take your organization anywhere from a week, 2 weeks, or 4 weeks. With our customer engagements to date, this has varied among them. So it's important that you identify the content necessary to help drive the site early in the process. So what we are saying is that with Intranet in the Box solution, you can realize a portal-based and content-centric intranet in anywhere from 45 to 60 days, depending on your content architecture and design. This represents a quick win for your web center systems and will start to drive immediate benefits, which we'll discuss a little bit later. Next slide. The University of Pretoria is one such organization that is already realizing the benefits of their staff portal, which they built with Intranet in the Box. This university in South Africa had purchased WebCenter Suite, which includes both WebCenter content and portal, in 2009. To help form the foundation for the university's information governance strategy to consolidate information into one system, increase collaboration, and control access. After purchasing Oracle WebCenter, the university saw few successes, and they struggled to complete any WebCenter-based project. The university worked with Fishbowl Solutions to build and deploy a context-centric and portal-based intranet site, which utilizes both Oracle WebCenter content and Oracle WebCenter portal, and has provided a successful starting point to further leverage the products and increase overall adoption. The university is benefiting from the distribution content contribution model that Intranet in a Box facilitates, which helps to ensure that content gets updated more often. This has helped to increase confidence in visitors that staff portal is effectively a one-stop shop for information pertaining to committees, teaching resources, applications, and even dining menus. So if we go on to the next slide, I can show you a screenshot of the staff portal homepage. What I want to point out on the screen is that the navigation is driven by a mega nav menu approach. You can't actually see it here, but if you look across the top, we have this, our top-level links across the top, which are being highlighted. And this really helps visitors to find the content that they're looking for without too many clicks or searches. And Gary will actually give you a proper demo of this mega nav menu approach and talk about it later within the presentation. So next slide. So the new portal also contains the ability to include microsites, which is being shown here. Microsite allows groups of departments with lots of content to essentially create their own site instead of multiple links from the homepage. So Jerry will also cover microsites in a bit more depth, but what I wanted to point out that these microsites take advantage of the inherent capabilities of Oracle WebCenter portal and spaces, including the calendar capabilities, which in this example would be used to highlight events for the Research Ethics Committee. So next slide. Right, so a healthcare company is also having success with our Intranet in a Box solution. They were initially looking to replace multiple out-of-date intranets with a single intranet aligned with corporate branding and messaging. They too wanted to make it easy for business groups to easily contribute content and also improve users' ability to search their intranet for information. They also wanted to drive adoption and overall use by providing a personalized experience for their visitors. This customer already had both WebCenter content and portal, so Fishbowl assisted them in moving forward with a portal-based intranet instead of a web-based one, which they were currently using. Now, the reasons for moving to WebCenter portal included the out-of-the-box features that portal comes with, such as events, calendars, user profiles, ability to create microsites, and employee directories. Most importantly, WebCenter's inherent enterprise or social capabilities, such as announcements, activity feeds, forums, discussion polls, likes, and comments. All of these social capabilities would have to be rebuilt if they pursued the enhancement of their current web-based intranet. So Fishbowl Solutions position both Oracle WebCenter content and portal as the key pieces of the customer's go-forward information infrastructure. These two pieces would enable the customer to save time and money with ongoing development of the intranet and would set the foundation for further integrations with other Oracle systems and applications. This customer has been live with their intranet for almost a year now with over 10,000 users. The next slide. So that was a few short minutes on Fishbowl Solutions, as well as an overview of Fishbowl's Intranet in a Box offering. I also highlighted some of our customer successes with Intranet in a Box to help everyone get some perspective on how this package offering could help your organization benefit from a new and visually rich intranet and leverage both Oracle WebCenter content and portal. Before I hand over to Jerry for a deep dive on the product, let's just do some level setting here to discuss some of the reasons organizations should consider updating their corporate intranet. So historically, intranets have been challenged by many factors. In most cases, the actual content contribution was controlled by the IT group. And so they were basically a bottleneck that caused stagnant content, and overall intranets have suffered from poor design and navigation, making information on the site hard to find. And so if you're a business user that saw the difficulty in getting content posted on the site, with IT being the bottleneck, plus you weren't able to easily find the information on the site, and factor in the most important, intranets do not offer any personalization, the overall use of corporate intranet is typically pretty low, with passive visits being probably the most common. Next slide. But today intranets are evolving. That's good news. If we think back about, what, 15 years ago and what an intranet may have looked like, then basically just imagine a company bulletin board. So how they've continued to leverage advancements in technology to enable self-service and visibility to other systems and applications. The next generation of intranets is going to incorporate the ability to easily contribute your content. It's going to integrate with other business systems and applications, and it's going to allow for personalization of the user experience within that intranet. So next slide. So these intranet advancements are being driven by the new demand of doing business. Such trends as reducing the cost and complexity of onboarding employees, or reducing the administration cost of business tasks, such as changing benefit designations. Even these processes can be offloaded to a site and system that support self-service. Organizations can then reduce costs and complexity. And intranets are a great example of business systems that can have enterprise impact that can be measured. If your organization is, or if your organization sees a reduction in internal IT or other support requests, or such things as increased visitors and increased time spent on the site, these data points can go a long way to drive return on investment. And let's not forget that a company's corporate intranet is really the internal brand of the company. Successful intranets have helped engage and connect employees and can be one of the vehicles to help retain employees by keeping them readily informed across the various areas of the company. Next slide. So what is required for an intranet to be successful? Well, Fishbowl has been working with organizations for many years now to help build and deploy intranets. And some of the key things that we come up against again and again are that intranet sites should help make employees' work and tasks easier. Now this includes online training resources, company directories or people search to help find experts and leaders, or such things as standard operating procedures. Intranets should also be a central location to connect people across the company and make visible a set of business issues, standards, and best practices. It should also be a place where employees feel empowered, either by coming and reading something new to help them do their job, or even a good news story to help increase morale, as well as a place where employees can contribute and add content to the site. Next slide. So in working with many WebCenter customers over the years, we've gathered such requirements for successful intranet. And now we've packaged up some of those requirements along with our own set of best practices and standards to form our intranet in a box offering. Our main goal and objective was to help users be able to easily consume content from an intranet site, making site content easy to find and act upon. We also wanted to help empower those employees and increase the likelihood that more and more employees would contribute content to the site. Additionally, we wanted to make site visits unique across the site. So we added a layer of personalization to the site. And lastly, we wanted to provide organizations with a framework to help them get a WebCenter project off the ground and complete, and such a project that would have an enterprise-wide impact. And so to the last point, we also wanted to help WebCenter customers start thinking about how they could leverage and extend their investments, how they could position WebCenter as an infrastructure to build out impactful information systems like a corporate intranet, and then extend and build upon them to include application integrations or utilizing other Oracle technologies such as BI, business intelligence, or application development framework, ADF, within the WebCenter Foundation. So next slide. So before I turn it back over to Jerry, I just want to open our second poll. So if we could just open up the poll. There you go. Does your organization currently have both Oracle WebCenter content and portal? If you can see the answers there, whether you have both Oracle WebCenter content portal or only content, only portal, or if you're just here using another portal solution and are interested in our proposition today.
Okay, thanks, John. Looks like we've got our poll being attended very quickly here. Looks like most of our pollsters are saying both Oracle WebCenter, both Oracle WebCenter and Portal. And then coming in second is only Oracle WebCenter Portal. So as we'll be closing the poll here in about 2 minutes. So get your votes in quickly, and then we'll transition over the demo. Okay. Okay, looks like I'll be taking over now. Thanks, John, for kicking us off with the webinar today. What I'm going to be taking you through is talking a little bit about the Internet-in-a-Box services and offering and how these components are pulled together and what the thought process is around that, and show you some of the feature sets that come out of the box with Internet-in-a-Box and how you can progress from the basic start of an intranet, working into microsites, collaboration sites, and then positioning for other integrations as you continue to grow your offering. So where do we start? The basic premise for what we think about here at Fishbowl Solutions is the methodology we call Holistic Enterprise Content Management. That methodology is basically the thought leadership and the been there, done that approach for positioning WebCenter, Portal, and content for the enterprise usage, and not just particularly specific individual projects, but across the board in terms of managing your unstructured information, presenting that through multiple delivery channels. It's that view of single source of truth. It's leveraging workflows. It's leveraging your architecture, the single repository, and eventually aggregating applications, content, and data into that single entry point. The process that we talk about in terms of rolling out holistic enterprise content management, it's kind of got 3 major pillars to it. One is your information strategy. In the past, information architecture is used as a term to identify a particular individual project. But if you take that back a couple steps and look at a higher level, your information strategy gives you that basic foundation for understanding all your information across your organization prior to stepping into large enterprise content management or portal engagements. It's that identification, audit, collection, and governance, or excuse me, identification of everything that you're going to drive through your intranet and your portal. The second stage of that is the roadmap and governance. We offer the user experience roadmap, technology roadmap, governance and scoping that helps take that information strategy and apply that to a solution. In this case, Internet-in-a-Box is one of those solutions. Implementation is where Fishbowl continues to fit in as well in terms of services and products, some of which John talked about earlier. But it's leveraging spaces and portals, web content management sites, content, internet frameworks, GSA integration, SharePoint integration, and mobility. It's kind of the key elements of those offerings to help drive that delivery channel of consumption. So what is Internet-in-a-Box defined? It is basically 3 major components, one of which is WebCenter Spaces. It sits on top of the WebCenter Spaces portal container, and it's got a bunch of page templates, skins that drive that Spaces container that are reusable across multiple sites, profiles and calendars that are used out of the box, task flows that are used to help drive content relationships, pages for topics, articles, and site sections and search, as well as custom pages that you, the customer, might help drive during your initial scoping engagement. And all that's accessed via a menu approach, which is driven via content as opposed to programmatically. And it's reusable across the multiple sites that you might roll out in your organization. WebCenter content is the other major component. It enables a distributed content contribution model, and it is the central repository that backs the Internet-in-a-Box solution and the portal solution. It allows you to create, reuse, and review content. It also has a set of metadata that comes out of the box with Internet-in-a-Box, as well as custom metadata fields you might drive for your solution. There's a set of profiles that help drive content contribution from the back end, as well as the front end of the portal. And it also comes with a set of pick list code that allows you to build relationships for contact info, as well as related content, which helps you drive the relationship aspect of contribution. One of the key elements mentioned in the box is it's got the hooks for personalization, and most customers leverage employer type, role, or location typed information about who you are when you log in, so you can drive that user experience and drive the navigation and the content targeted to that type of individual. That's all tied to some LDAP repository that has the information about who you are when you log in. There's a set of Web Center content profiles, also the back to content server, that help drive navigation and structure. We call them categories, subcategories, and topics. We also drive site content via the topic and article approach. And this topic and article approach allows you to build a page template, use a page template that has one format that's leveraging thousands of pieces of content. So you're managing a one-to-many relationship rather than creating a page, content, and content, and having the overhead of managing all those pages. We also have specialized content that helps drive our primary carousel, we call our page banner, news, quick links, our secondary carousel, as well as forms and documents and media assets. So you can drive your forms and documents and media assets from your marketing and various departments up through the intranet very easily with a flyout approach that I'll demonstrate today. There's also customer-specific profiles that might help drive document contribution of some specialized nature for your organization. So the framework is extendable from that perspective, from a contribution level as well as a display level. Let me point out some of the components that you'll see today. Across the top, we have our mega menu, which is the anchor for everything that drives the navigation. These are pretty static. Once the engagement starts and you define what your anchors are going to be, off of that are categories, subcategories, and topics. They are the levels of navigation that help drive access in the mega menu approach. A category can have a subcategory and a topic under it, and a topic can be tied to either a category or subcategory and can be driven by web content, a link to internal or external sites, as well as documents that are contributed to the content server. Contact information is a pre-formatted ADF component that allows you to contribute metadata only to the content server and display within a topic or article page and create a relationship. The mega menu approach you see here is what you hover over, and these category and subcategories help drive that navigation. The core landing page features, then topic or articles is where the meat of the web content is managed through. These are two different formats, or they could be the same format in your organization, that help drive the look and feel of the content that gets contributed. And then there's related content that allows you to contribute a document or another article and relate that to another topic or article to help build that daisy chain of organization throughout the site. Some of the bigger, some more interesting components are announcements and calendar events. These are content-driven versus the ones that come with spaces, because we feel that spaces allows you to manage those announcements and events per space. These announcements or events are usable across multiple spaces or multiple sites. News releases is a feature that is popular with our customers. The marketing and content departments tend to like to drive news release contribution. And then we have a see all functionality on each one of these three that allows you to see more than what happens to be displayed on the landing page. Three additional components that are popular are the secondary carousel, which gets placed on usually on the home page and allows for a different way of seeing content that gets contributed. Forms and documents is the primary means for showing departmental or enterprise-wise documents across the organization for quick access and a flyout approach. And there's also custom display options that allow you to expand, collapse, and filter those results in case you have thousands of documents you can look through. There's also a newsletter component that works similarly to the forms of documents. It's got the most latest, most current news release and corporate newsletter across the top, and then a way to expand and collapse some based on facilities. Most of our customers tend to drive newsletters across their enterprise at a location level versus a site level. So outside of the framework that comes with Intranet in the box, there's also a set of things that take place during the process to help drive that better user experience. Your landing page design and overall user experience help drive what the site's going to look like. You either use that external services provider to provide a site design and branding, or you can leverage Fishbowl or use some of the ones that we've got out of the box. Additional page layouts and snippet of web content. We've had most customers end up adding 4 or 5 custom pages to the framework and allow that to build into the integration very easily. We have an integrated CK editor that allows for the WYSIWYG contribution to take place at the portal level as well as the content server level. Dialog boxes for metadata, search portlets for tagging content, and then further integration with additional spaces features like calendar events, polls, blogs, and such. And we also provided templating for a richer user interaction and easy startup of the next site. And we'll talk about microsites in a bit. As part of that website design and user experience, Fishbowl is also an expert in web design services from a responsive design perspective. We do web design work on the building reusable templates, user interface skinning, ADF mobile, REST APIs, and subscribe to the HTML5 and CSS3 type of standards in order to build a responsive design site. We understand very well what that one template automatically adjusts for desktops, tablets, and mobile devices. So if you have requirements to drive your site to be seen on multiple types of devices, that is a question that gets asked early on during the scope engagement in terms of building that site design. And it's a flexible engagement model, so we can work directly with the customers to design that template, make it an agile approach, and then kind of collaborate with any third-party design agencies to help drive that integration to the back end. Some site design questions that come up are when you work with Fishbowl Solutions, you work with us to help design that responsive design on that skin, and we have the skills to do the front-end design work and programming to integrate with that back-end portal solution. Most of the design firms we've run across don't necessarily target their assets to be built properly for portal consumption, so we take their assets and integrate them to the back end. The externals, companies you might use to help do your site design, can help build out and provide the wireframes and branding guidelines. And that should not be PDFs, that should be PSDs in terms of the cut up of the elements that get rolled out to the back-end integration. From that point, Fishbowl can cut up and integrate very easily, very quickly. Personalization is a key aspect of driving website consumption. Our contribution model allows for tagging of content at the navigation and the content level to help drive that user experience. The primary, like I said, the primary 3 or 4 that companies use are employer type, role, and location. You might have 1 or 2 that are a little different that you might want to drive how that contribution gets seen by that customer. We usually try to keep that to about 4 to 5 tops. You don't want to turn into a contribution nightmare in terms of tagging your content through too many different types of personalization, but it does help. The personalization capabilities do help keep the number of microsites down to a minimum so that you can drive a content personalization experience at the intranet level. And it almost feels like you have multiple sites because you have that capability. Related content is, like I said, a powerful tool that allows for relating articles, documents, and links and topics all together to help kind of provide a daisy chain approach. It's a user-controlled list of content items. You contribute the items, relate them to one another to help build that navigation, as well as handling metadata fields, which help drive that custom pop-up. So it's a pick list approach in order to make the contribution. These are displayed on topics and article pages, and they can be linked documents, topics, or article web content. So it's a very powerful capability that I'll demonstrate today. Distributed contribution is a key element of the activity that takes place when we engage with our customers. The main menu that you saw is pretty much done by the admin level, and the site sections are done by the admin level, so you've got the anchors in place. Adding level 1s and 2s, or categories and subcategories, is a select contributors. You do not want that to be dozens of people throughout your organization. You want a set few that manage the navigation. And then from there, any contributor can be set up to manage additional articles, documents, and links that you might leverage throughout the site, and then build up the related topics across those pages. So what do you need to make all this work? Basically what's required is Oracle WebCenter Spaces, WebCenter content, the Intranet in the Box Jumpstart services and framework, and Portal Integration Suite component, which is a way to integrate with the content server very easily without doing programmatic integration to pull content. What's also recommended from our customers is they've also used some of our products for advanced user security mapping to help map to LDAP rules for contribution as well as ownership of the site, workflow to enhance the workflow capabilities of the content server, subscription notifier to get notified and set up rules about content that's starting to become out of date so that you can notify the contributors to make changes to keep those users engaged, and then the Google Search Appliance Connector, which allows for enhancing the search to a more Google-like approach that consumers are used to on the World Wide Web. Additional features are People Finder, real-time chat, and Spaces mobility that help enhance the engagement. And those are just add-ons that provide further capabilities within the Internet-in-a-Box framework. The theme supports internal sites as well as external sites. So we can do an employee intranet with microsites and collaboration sites, as well as position your portal framework to be used externally. So if you have an engagement where you want to build a site that is a web content site initially, and then you want to do a self-service with your customers and expose the portal technology from the back end in your business applications, you can do that same framework. And I'll actually demonstrate some ADF business components and forms inside the framework today. We have a couple of customers who are using that for the external sites now as they're positioning for portal integration on the back end later. The core of today's conversation will be about intranets, microsites, and collaboration sites. We have a view of that I'll explain shortly that positions you for consistent reuse as well as quick time to market from building microsites. The site access view of microsites is a base intranet is used for primarily getting at the majority of the consumers who will use that site. There are some consumers in your organization who will ask that they have their own homepage and their own microsite. This framework does support that, and Spaces uniquely allows that framework to be, with a push of a button, replicate a site, and then you change the configuration of the site to pull the content for the newly created site. And then link them together all in a similar look and feel. The basic intranet uses a standard mega menu structure, and all the microsites below it could use that site-specific mega menu structure, and then collaboration sites can be set up to reuse the standard mega menu structure, or, for example, in Collaboration Site 4, use the specific microsite mega menu structure. So there's ways to make the mega menu look and feel exactly the way your internal customers need it to work. And the core differentiators of the site are the multi-site management capabilities with the Spaces in our framework, as well as the multilingual capabilities. All of our content and metadata is pre-built or ready with the metadata model that allows for multilingual contribution, and it's just a matter of us putting on the landing page the capability to switch between the languages and default to that language so that you can leverage the content in the appropriate language you wish to use, as well as the intranet, extranet approach in terms of our framework. Yes, we call it Intranet in a Box, lovingly so, but we also provide the capability to do that for the extranet as well. So it's a framework for allowing you to get started quickly and reuse your content and portal technology quickly, but it's also positioning for what's next. You also have the capability now to surface data from other sources with OBIE, which is Oracle Business Enterprise Edition, eBusiness Suite for using dashboards and reports. You can utilize common development technology frameworks either down the Oracle flavor of things with ADF, or you can leverage JSR 286 portlets to do quick integration with your application if you happen to be more of a JSR shop and haven't adopted all of the ADF framework capabilities that Oracle has to offer just yet. So you can go either direction with it. At that point in time, you can then continue to leverage and extend investments in your Oracle database, Exadata, search, and single sign-on. It doesn't take long to have an intranet conversation and then further extend the search and single sign-on and identity management questions. And then there's a question that always pops up as we are doing these types of engagements: could we just use SharePoint? The answer is yes. It's a very powerful tool. We have a very specific use case for how we recommend the customers that SharePoint be leveraged in terms of a departmental collaboration perspective. And we have the SharePoint connector that supports that. But there's also the SharePoint versus WebCenter cost of ownership comparison. It's very easy and cheap to get into SharePoint compared to WebCenter, but over the course of time, 3-year total cost of ownership is actually 32% less in terms of management overhead, development and integration, migration-related solution software that drives WebCenter to be a better return on investment. So we'll flip over to do one last poll question here, or should we do the demo? Let's do the poll first. Ready? So we'll take a moment to answer some questions on our last poll here. I'll flip over to the demo. And we'll wait a couple of minutes as the last few folks answer some questions about the last poll. And again, just as a reminder, if you have any questions as we run along here, we'll be taking questions at the end. And if you just raise your hand or put it in the chat box, we will get to those questions shortly. Alrighty, so we closed our poll and we'll flip over to our demo. All right, what I'm going to take you through here is a couple of sites, our base intranet site, and then a look at a couple of microsites from a base microsite perspective for content consumption as well as collaboration. What you're looking at here is our Show Me Intranet site. It has got the mega menu structure across the top. When you hover over, you see the options that were contributed. These content items below were all contributed via content through the content server as well as through the front end you see here. One of the first things I'll show you is under standard work, you'll see these buttons off to the right. Now I happen to be logged in as an editor that allows me the contributor mode within the portal front end. So there's ways to contribute on the back end with the content server, but there's also ways to contribute and manage the site from the front end through the portal. The first option I'll show you is the ability to add a new topic web page into the navigation structure. I'll add a sample nav entry here. Tab over, automatically the inline WYSIWYG editor, which is customizable, by the way, to reduce the amount of buttons or drive the styling that's in the site. So I can add content quickly. Click Save. And that new page has just been added to the site, what we call a topic web content item. The content information and the related context information and standard navigation off the left are actually pre-built based on relationships, and I'll show you how those are seen. And then I can easily change that content by just hovering over the section of the page that's been turned on for the WYSIWYG editing and add more content. There are features to add links in from the site based on contents in the content server, or add links that are externally facing. So you can format this page, this portion of the page, any way you like. The site design, in terms of this layout, is we have a left navigation that's pre-built based on the nav structure here. So it's carried forward on the site. Related content automatically shows up on the left, and contact information will automatically show up on the right. Let me take you back to the home page briefly. So I added that new navigation, and it automatically shows up in the standard work category. Here we have an example of categories and topics. We also have a subcategory, which allows me to open up new items underneath of it, and my topics happen to be related to the subcategory from an earlier content contribution activity that took place. Our website here has the basic banners across the top, which change every so often on a timing basis, or you can navigate through them yourself. To show you some responsive design components here, I will minimize the screen, show you how it stretches. As I go from my main site to a smaller page layout, you'll see the arrows transition and allow me to change through the banners. And as I minimize the screen even more, we point out with some black here just to highlight that you are changing over to a more responsive design that will fit a smaller form layout. Additionally, on our landing page, we have a snippet piece of content in the middle here that I can edit by just clicking into. I have images, different formatted text, and I can change and highlight this text and bold it very quickly and click out of it, and my contribution has been saved, has been checked out and saved on the content server side, and I have a new version of that content. I can click back in, take the bolds off, or I can actually change the colors and reformat that text or add more text as I go along. Very easy contribution model from the portal side, provided you have the privileges to make those changes. I just happen to have a generic set of text in there. Also on the page, I've got announcements, news releases, and calendar events. The announcements is more of a search portlet, as well as news releases and calendar events. The snippet piece of content is a snippet portlet that allows you to pull one piece of content from the content server. We also have a contribution capability from via news releases, where you can click the Add New button and add a news release under a use case like marketing and communication folks would use, because they like to create PDFs in terms of their news releases. Upload the PDF document, take that file off their desktop, pick a thumbnail image to map it to, pick a news release date, and pick the summary text. This information here is the summary text that helps kind of provide you a snippet of what the PDF is going to have in it. I can click on that, and it gets rendered in line with the web content type of approach. Calendar events work similarly to news releases and announcements. It's more of a page layout, a larger page layout that provides you more real estate to put content in, insert images as well. And then announcements works a similar way. This happens to be more of a Word document contribution model that was actually contributed through our SharePoint connector and front end to contribute announcements. The See All functionality allows you to see the particular sections you're working on in more detail, because the landing page only supports 3 or 4 or 5 items. The See All option provides a current and archive approach to view everything that's been going through, and through a 2-week, 3-week, or 4-week cycle, and automatically gets moved to an archive, and then can be purged out of your system through whatever processes you have put in place. I'm going to take you over to a secondary site. This is a microsite for our information technology department that's hanging off our main department site. And you'll notice the navigation structure changed as soon as I flipped over to the microsite. By definition, an information technology site, an HR, marketing, and comm tend to be the larger ones that get set up with their own microsites. Smaller departments, maybe like finance or manufacturing or legal and accounting, might be a department that hangs off of the base site that we were just at as one of these departments. But this one has kind of been built in to be slightly bigger because they qualified with their own landing page and their own set of content, and their navigation structure has to be large enough to drive that microsite. Here we have a snippet piece of content at the top of the page helping describe the site we're on. We're using the out-of-the-box Spaces events calendar in this example. And then we're using the secondary carousel, which is just a different way of showing content and links to other portions of internal and external sites. I'm reusing the same announcements from the Show Me landing page that I was just on, and we're also leveraging the poll capabilities. So this is a very simple layout that shows reuse of content between 2 different sites and a different layout in the same skin and look and feel, so it looks like I'm in the same intranet, but actually it's physically a different site. I can also integrate other Spaces capabilities like I did here with a custom page that uses the blog capabilities out of the box. You can also work towards an IT dashboard and show content integrated with whatever dashboard metrics you might be leveraging either through OBIE or some other capabilities in terms of pulling data or assets from your information areas to help kind of drive dashboards of the site. I also have a capability to jump over, another link allows me to jump over to an ADF-based forms and ADF business component site that is, again, a different nav structure, but allows me to do more ADF-type work and interact with the site as I would in terms of some application that I might have built. This happens to be a member portal, which provides me information about this member, some financials, some ADF business components, show me some charts, and then I can navigate back using the more out-of-the-box navigation structure to go back to the Show Me site all within the context of the same look and feel with different navigations and different page layouts, but it gives me that sense that I'm in one physical intranet. Another feature that we've added is the forms and documents. We have a flyout approach to this. This layout is driven by JSP templates, which is an easy way to help make changes to your formats and replicate layouts across the site. This one happens to leverage more of a flyout approach where there's level 1s and level 2s. I can also expand the capability and see all documents that are segmented or collapse them. And this might be where your non-microsite departments start as a level 1, show me all finance documents, show me all accounting documents. I can also do filtering off of that level 1 and do filtering off the level 2 to help reduce the number of documents and levels that I have to look at when I'm on this site, on this page. It's a very handy way to manage thousands and thousands of documents. These very same documents can be leveraged and displayed on, for example, a web content page as related content. Here you see a web content page that's been filled out using the relationships of 2 contacts been added to it. The nav structure is pre-built, and the related content was linked to that page, and I can edit the web content in the middle simply by clicking on that section of the page. Very easy to perform that. The relationships take place on the content server side, and I can also show documents in this microsite using the same approach, same template, but it's a different set of levels for this microsite. So it's very easy for me to share documents across sites as well. Flipping back over to the, we also leveraged a managed poll capability, which is a custom page that was added using the out-of-the-box managed polls capability on the poll that happens to be sitting on my landing page for this microsite. So if you have the right privileges, you can go ahead and change those configurations. So that should give you an idea of how the multiple sites work, and last but not least, the integration with the Google Search connector allows me to do a search and leverage a search results page similar to how Google's search results page works, with some faceted search filters results off to the side, and by clicking on that link I can zip over to my navigation page very easily. So that's it for the demonstration. We'll flip back over to the slides here and pick up where we left off. John, you want to take us home?
Jerry. Yeah, sure. So that was a great overview there on Intranet in the box. So we're nearing the end of today's presentation. And in closing, I wanted to just add that there are many business drivers for Intranet in the box, both on the line of the business side and IT. As we discussed and Jerry demonstrated, Intranet in the box makes it easy for users to contribute content. It also provides a framework to easily incorporate internal and external content and personalize for the user. So Intranet in the box helps build out your corporate intranet and becomes the one-stop shop for users to help them with their daily tasks. On the IT side, the IT group will leverage Oracle WebCenter content as a place where intranet information is stored, which will help with content governance and control. And because it leverages WebCenter content as a repository, they'll be able to scale and meet the demands of a growing business. And perhaps most importantly for IT, Intranet in the box leverages the existing Oracle architecture you have in place, as well as the pre-built integrations with Oracle applications and other Oracle systems. This means a lower total cost of ownership with higher overall value. Next slide. So in summary, why Intranet in the box? As discussed, it provides a framework to build and deploy a WebCenter-based intranet in 60 days or less. And once you have the site built and deployed, the framework makes it easy to build onto the site with microsites. Intranet in the box is a repeatable framework that leverages the out-of-the-box capabilities of WebCenter content and portal, along with some of the Fishbowl and the industry best practices to build a corporate intranet. Additionally, users and IT alike will benefit from contribution model and site maintenance, and organizations will be able to recognize successful WebCenter projects that puts them on the path for holistic content management across the organization. Next slide. So again, Intranet in a Box is a proven packaged software and service offering that includes what you see here today. The end result of these stages is a live intranet site within 60 days or less. So, next slide. With that, let's move on to some questions. So I could hand over to you, Jerry, to.
Okay. Let's see. All right, we're looking at some of the questions at this moment. Looks like there's a question from somebody about the SharePoint adapter on the front end for announcements using the collaboration and contribution model. Yes, in this case, if you use SharePoint for organic collaboration, say at a marketing level, you might collaborate on announcements or press releases and then push them to targeted places on the intranet, for example, the news release section or the intranet announcements. I demonstrated the one that just happened to come from our SharePoint instance that somebody had demoed the SharePoint connector pushing an announcement to the intranet. And then you can do that contribution from the content server or the portal as well in case you wish to use kind of both models. Next question. A little difficulty looking at the questions here. Oh, there we go. Another question is, does the solution make use of Site Studio for template development of WebCenter sites? The answer is no. In this case, we can leverage Site Studio assets for delivery to the portal, but it's not positioned for template development or for WebCenter sites. That's a different type of contribution and a different technology stack to make that happen. But we can reuse Site Studio assets in the portal, leveraging the portal integration suite. Another question here. Since IPM is one product that can be integrated with the intranet solution, like we have a full-blown EBS or PeopleSoft integration for web needs for our organization. I guess I'm not sure if I understand the question. Yes, IPM is a different product. It's leveraging the WebCenter content on the back end. We can aggregate content from an IPM solution, for example, that might be integrated with eBusiness Suite or PeopleSoft, and serve up those assets into the portal via the Portal Integration Suite integration, either images that we might want to view or documents that might be contributed through some kind of transactional content collection process. But they can be integrated across the two because that's what Portal is best used for, is aggregating content, data, and applications across your enterprise. And you might be using one UCM instance, an IPM instance for eBusiness integration. You might be using one for content, documents, etc. Financial solution for ARAP. The answer is yes. We sure can. We can even leverage portlets that are pre-built out of the EBS or PeopleSoft arena into the portal side. So if you wanted to, for example, see workflow queue items or do some kind of quick data manipulation through a small portlet, those are some features that are out of the box, and others can be built to enhance that experience. Any additional questions? And if you happen to and you want to ask over the phone, you can raise your hand and we can kind of work interactively versus you typing it through the question session. But as you see on the screen, we have some contact information regarding Fishbowl Solutions. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we can also, if you contact us, we can do further demonstrations and further integration talks with you about the framework and how to position Holistic in your enterprise. John, anything to add?
No, thanks, Jerry. I think you've covered it. So I think it looks like we're running out of time now, but before we close, I just want to thank everyone for attending today's session. This webinar has been recorded, and the recording will be made available to you soon. So that done, I'd just like to say thanks again, and have a great day. Unless, Jerry, you've got anything final to add?
No more questions. I think we're good to go. Thank you very much, John. Thanks for joining us.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.